So first we need to have the top management involvement. Only when we have the top management involvement, people who are in the organization will know what exactly is expected. So that's why they are calling it the tone at the top. The core should be in tandem with the organization mission statement and purpose. So anything that you do should be in tandem with the organization's policy. Then commitment vehicle and documentation details. So it should basically be assigned with the existing policies, procedures, and practices. Then different approaches. So there could be different approaches. You will have to tell the do's and don'ts, but at the same time, it should not be too voluminous. Like you cannot be going on and on with what is don't and what is possible. So it should be clear.
mm,
Then there's a term called moral relativism. What is moral relativism? There is nothing in this world that is right or wrong. What is right for you could be wrong for someone. So that is called moral relativism. Rejects the existence of objective, absolute, or universal moral truth that govern our morality. Simple thing from our dietary habits to our cultural differences, it could be anything. The way we dress, the way we eat, the way we talk. So there's nothing like the right or wrong. Then unethical behavior drivers.
mm,
So basically, in an organization, you need to know what are the triggers of
mm,
this unethical practices. Where do you think it is exactly starting? So
mm,
here, a compliance risk assessment of high sensitivity or vulnerable subjects may be useful. This may isolate and identify the topics to be included. For example, say you are having a manufacturing unit of a health drink, or say you're doing something, yeah, health drink, let's assume. So there could be a lot of industrial waste. Assuming you have decided to fill it up in a landfill nearby. So that is a topic that could be a trigger.
mm,
It could pollute the soil around, it could contaminate the water around. So things like that. Comprehensive coverage, which is COSO. What is COSO? Committee of Sponsoring Organization. I'll give you a brief description of what COSO is. So it suggests a larger scope. Conflict of interest, illegal or improper payments, improper financial statement, manipulation, equal and fair employment practices, proper use of company assets and resources, antitrust competitive guidelines, insider trading, confidentiality of proprietary information, any other matters pertaining to entity in question should also be questioned. Here we are including everything that we left out in the first 4 points.
mm,
Then you need someone called an ethics officer. Why? Because for any accountability, there should be first responsibility. You need to clearly document and say that this person is going to take care. And also, an employee is more comfortable discussing his or her problem with a peer than with a supervisor. Now, COSO, this is not given in detail in ethics section, but still we will do it for you to understand. So this framework came up in 1992. So in 2013, the very famous cube of COSO came up. So now time and again, you can see people talking about the COSO cube. It is very, very important that we know this. It's a 3D diagram, basically to show that all the elements of internal control are related. So how are we going to integrate the internal controls into the business processes? These controls provide reasonable assurance that the organization is operating ethically, transparently, and in accordance with established industry standards. The key words are reasonable assurance. Okay. Now, COSO framework, very quickly, it has the control environment. So, what is the environment? It should basically it includes all the industry standard practices, best practices. Then risk assessment and management, which is also called the enterprise risk management. Risk being an inherent factor, and how is it going to be managed? Then control activities. Now, control environment will lead to control activities, like how they are meeting business objectives. They're not bringing unnecessary risk into your process. Venkataraman, have you muted your thing? Records. Information and communication, internal and external communication adhere to legal requirements. Example, customer privacy policy. So time and again we keep hearing no that all your Aadhaar details are compromised or some website is compromised, your details are taken. We constantly keep getting calls from many or do you want a loan? So all these are the data privacy is lost. Okay, so here COSO says that these are the four, it's basically a 3D cube which covers all the internal control activities of an organization. So control environment, risk assessment, control activities and information and communication. One simplest approach to answer all these questions, whatever they ask you, is the option that says that whatever you do should be in tandem with the organization policies and procedures. That will be your answer. Then monitoring, employees are adhering to established internal controls. So this is the COSO cube. It covers all this. Now you have framed the code, you have involved everybody, the top management, and you have got everything clear. Now, how do you get approval of the code? So first thing, approval means it is just not about signing. It is about acceptance from people so that they know how to follow it. So here, broad participation. More the employees at all levels have participated in the development of the code, the more the code will be accepted and followed because it's more clear. Then review process. Broadly based document review process may facilitate involvement. The board of directors, the audit committee, and the senior operating management should all approve the code. Now, having approved the code, the next is communication of the code. So here, how do you think you can communicate the code? First one is methods. How do you think you can, what do you think are the methods? How do you think you can speak to your staff about your ethical code? You constantly go tell them, which is indoctrination. What is indoctrination? Right from the time you were born, you were taught to recite some slokas as per your religion or pray God. So that is indoctrination. You were taught to eat, eat with your right hand. You were taught to prostrate when an elderly person comes. So this is indoctrination. Here, in-house activities, external activities, indoctrination programs, counseling efforts, and evaluation tools disseminate. Disseminate means spreading the code, the details of the code. Dialogue when ambiguity arises. You need to clear as and when ambiguity means when there is a doubt. Then again, reinforcement. So here it is not only that, okay, I have communicated, this is the code, all of you follow, nobody is going to do that. You have to keep reinforcing it. So how will you reinforce? You have to sensitize employees about that various risk that is involved. Then seminars and workshop, ethical columns in the newsletter. Then employee should sign off acknowledging receipt of the return code. That is important thing. It could be one of the option in many questions. So basically, employee should sign off acknowledging receipt of the return. How do you know that he knows what the code is? You need proof. Then third parties communicate ethic to strategic partners like customers and suppliers. See, time and again we see, that day Purni was talking about Shakti Masala ad. They show how the process we carry on. They try to tell us these are the ethical things that we follow.